Has this ever happened to you while playing Doom Eternal?
I need more bullets! I need more bullets! I need more bullets! I need more bullets! Bigger weapons! Bigger weapons! Bigger weapons! I need more bullets! I need more bullets!
How about, instead of trying to find a solution to this problem by chainsawing demons or finding ammo pickups, we just eliminate the problem altogether by not using guns? Sounds good, and not ridiculous in the slightest. This is the second part of my challenge playthrough of Doom Eternal, in which I will attempt to answer the question, can you beat Doom Eternal without firing a single bullet? Actually, the plasma rifle, the rocket launcher, the ballista, and BFG don't use bullets, and thus, you can't beat the game without firing a single bullet, and you are stupid. Shut up. Just shut up. Today, I will be playing through the game's DLC, The Ancient Gods Parts 1 and 2. The rules for this challenge run are going to be the same this time around as with Part 1, so no point in explaining them. If you do find yourself enjoying the video, do drop a like, a comment, or a sub. This really helps the channel grow and does put a smile on my face. With the quick intro out of the way, let's get to it. So I start the run on the Nightmare difficulty, seeing as how I have all of the suit and weapon upgrades carried over from the base game, besides the Crucible, obviously, and the immediate spike in difficulty was quite noticeable. The Ancient Gods Part 1 is widely considered to be the most difficult part of this game for good reasons. Tons of arenas and even more frequent heavy and super heavy demon spawns than even the later levels of the base game really do contribute to making this DLC one of the most difficult ones in games in general, I would say. It's already difficult if you play as intended, that is, using guns, which I wasn't, so yeah. This was difficult, lemon difficult. Each level in the DLCs introduces newer enemy types. UAC Atlantica, for instance, has these annoying turrets that I could only destroy by wasting my 2 Blood Punch charges. You would think that playing with these restrictions would be pure torture, but it really wasn't. I know this game in and out, so playing the game in such a manner was really fun and made me think on my feet way more frequently.
You son of a bitch!
I would save up my chainsaw fuel to deal with the pain elementals because, well, as their name might imply, they are a pain to deal with. Last time I played this DLC, you could hold down the chain gun shield in front of the portal and force the Marauder to spawn inside of a wall, instantly killing him. But this exploit has been fixed, which I didn't know about, but anyways. We grabbed the key to the Seraphim's chambers and bailed to the underwater facility, where we had to fight 2 Marauders. Yeah, this was fun. I definitely didn't spend like 10 minutes on this.
I'm about to end this man's whole career. Bop, 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 pow.
We then insert the key into the panel and oh look, Dr. Hayden is the Seraphim.
Dr. Hayden is the Seraphim.
Moving on to what is, without a single doubt in my mind, my most favorite level in the game, the Blood Swamps. I find this level just endlessly enjoyable, both from the gameplay aspect and from the visual side as well. Oh look! Another exploit that has been addressed. Great. Good job, team. Yeah, this was even more painful than the Marauder encounter in the USC Atlantica. This level also introduces another enemy type, the Spirit. They possess a demon and make them faster and more resistant to damage. A possessed demon cannot be staggered or frozen by an ice bomb, and the usual way to deal with them is via the help of the microwave beam mod. Although, once all of the enemies are defeated, the Spirit vanishes as there are no longer any targets for them to possess. Most of the possessed demons you encounter, like Hell Knights, Mancubi, or Arachnotrons, are manageable. It's the super heavy demons that genuinely give me nightmares. Possessed Barons and Tyrants are already a major pain in the rear while playing normally, but without the use of guns, these two overshadow even the toughest of bosses in this game. Thankfully, there's only one possessed Tyrant in this game, we will come to him soon enough. But this level does throw in a possessed Baron at the end of the left path. Once we collect the first part of the shield, we progress to the second and last progression path, and at the midpoint we have to fight yet another Marauder, but this time with a toxic cloud around us with a small air bubble in the center. No big deal, honestly. The final arena has pretty much all of the major demons that we have encountered so far spawning in, well, besides the Tyrants. We collect the second piece of the shield and begin the mini boss fight. These eyeballs are kind of weird. During this challenge, the only way you can deal damage to them is by punching them, but the blood punch gauge doesn't get depleted. So what the hell is going on here? Anyway, after we deal with the first two eyeballs separately, the two of them start attacking together, cause what's scarier than one eyeball? Correct, two eyeballs. After we punch our way to victory, we ascend to the Ingmar's Sanctum, destroy the Allfather's Life Sphere, making Samuel very angry in the process, and we steal the Dork Lord's Life Sphere cause we are planning on resurrecting him. Moving on to the final level in this DLC, the Hold. The third and final enemy is introduced here, the Bloodmaker, who can either be chainsawed or blood punched 4 or 5 times to be defeated. These guys are annoying, and are the primary reason why I would be saving up free chainsaw pips for the rest of the game. After a bunch of platforming, even more mindless slaughter, we come across the first boss of this level, the Possessed Tyrant. This guy is just downright horrifying. As is the case with the Possessed Barons, they are already the toughest enemies while playing regularly, but this time around, oh boy, this whole encounter took 10 minutes to go through. Thankfully, there was a decent amount of cover and plenty of respawning zombies around the arena, which helped me a lot when recharging my blood punch. We then move on to meet up with Samur, who is also Samuel Hayden, remember?
Dr. Hayden is the Seraphim.
This boss fight is in my opinion the best one in the entire Doom series. It offers so much diversity in terms of gameplay. There's really a lot of layers to it. It's also really difficult, so I had to tone down the difficulty a bit. Phase 1 is quite simple. You just punch, you dodge, and that's it. We then move on to Phase 2. And this is where the run kind of falls apart. Samur spawns in 2 spirits, who then possess a Mancubus and a Hell Knight. That by itself seems doable, right? Well, it would be had it not been for the fact that the spirits are the health bar of the boss. I tried for the longest time not to use the microwave beam on them, but alas, it's impossible to do. Once a spirit leaves the demon, another one spawns in and gets possessed. And even if you are quick enough to defeat the second demon, they keep spawning in until the spirit is dealt with. So I had to ghost bust these 2 spirits and 2 more spirits coming up to progress further. This is literally the only time in the game where you are forced to use your weapons. And technically the run is over at this point, but I still wanted to finish the journey, so here we go. The third phase is more or less a tension break of the fight, which I just adore that they did that. During this phase you can either murder a whole bunch of defenseless cacos, or do what I did and just surf on one of them. This phase is time based, so no point in wasting your energy. Phase 4 rolls around and it's more or less the same thing as phase 1, but this time Samur is a lot more evasive, making me rely more on my grenades with an occasional blood punch here and there. Once his health bar is depleted, we enter the last phase where he summons 2 more spirits who possess a Pain Elemental and a Dread Knight. The spirits are once again the health bar of the boss, so we have to do it to them. Samur, who is also Samuel Hayden,
Dr. Hayden is the Seraphim.
is defeated, and we resurrect the Dark Lord.
No curveball, no changeup, nothing but fucking gas.
No blood can be spilled in this holy place.
On to the second DLC we go, Level 1, World Spear. We get introduced to a new enemy, the Armored Baron, one of the very few superb additions to the game in this DLC. The strat to beat them was quite simple, dash into them enough times to break the armor, freeze them, blood punch, and boom, he did. Aside from that, there were a couple of decent-ish arenas I had to go through before acquiring the main star of the DLC, the Sentinel Hammer. This thing is just way too OP for this DLC. It's honestly already an easy DLC to go through without the hammer, but with it, it just makes the DLC a cakewalk. Not to say that I didn't experience minor setbacks, though once I've managed to beat this possessed Arachnotron, something happened which I wasn't exactly prepared for. Yup, the spirit possessed the Tyrant. I wish I had my microphone on while recording this so you could hear me screaming at the top of my lungs, but alas. After what felt like an eternity, this bad boy finally went down and I progressed further and encountered another new enemy type, the Stone Imps. Not a whole lot I can say about them, they're just imps who are desperately trying to be like Sonic but are failing at it. We light the Torch of Kings, hitch a ride to the outskirts with the World Spear. Why we couldn't fly directly to it is anyone's guess. With the power of Bonk in the palm of our hands, we fight through even more arenas and humiliate even more poor demons before completing the level.
Oh, fuck.
Once we reach the World Spear, we grab the crystal with which we can power the Gate of Divoom and finish the level. It was decent. Moving on to Reclaimed Earth, where we are introduced to two more enemy types. The Cursed Prowler. It's just a regular Prowler. Yeah. And the Chain Gunner. He's just a regular zombie soldier. Yeah. Also, I got startled so hard when this Bloodmaker appeared, I genuinely jumped out of my seat. The last level in the second DLC opens up with what is probably one of the most hype-inducing cutscenes in all of gaming. Too bad that the level itself doesn't really live up to the hype that this cutscene has. By the tone and pretty much lack of any compliments towards the levels in the second DLC, you can probably tell that I'm not the biggest fan of the Ancient Gods Part 2. I just don't like the direction in which the story and therefore the game itself was taken in, what with the Slayer's entire arc being concluded in the second DLC of the second game. That just seems backwards. With COVID around while this DLC was being made, I really feel that the devs should have scaled back a bit with the story, because this level depicts an all-out war between Hell and Argent-D'Nur, and in gameplay doesn't really feel like that. Also, the art design in the second DLC is weird. We have two levels that are set in green environments, and the third level, which is supposed to be set in the capital of Hell, looks nothing like Hell, but like a random desert in the first half, and a maker city with a whole lot of reused assets in the second half. The concept arts for this level were just superb. I really wish that the devs would go ahead with this design. So what I would have preferred is for the devs to leave the contents of the Ancient Gods Part 2 for the third game, and have the DLC center around the Slayer doing literally anything else, like tracking down and killing the ruling demons or the Dark Lord's generals or something like that. But we have what we have, and it's okay, I guess. Anyway, after defeating any and all who stood in our way, we hitch a ride to the Dark Lord's throne room and have the most boring and bland boss fight in the entire series. Seriously, making this guy into a bullet sponge would have been more entertaining, but no, we have to have another traffic light enemy. No, better yet, a traffic light boss. Don't you love fighting marauders? Well, how about you fight a beefed up marauder who can heal himself when dealing damage to you and also lasts for 5 phases. 5 phases of almost the exact same stuff. How fun! Yeah, I really hate this boss fight, by the way, purely because of how boring it is. The thing is, he is already easy as hell to fight with guns, but without the guns, he's still a joke. Without the guns, all you have to do is blood punch him once the traffic light turns green, use the hammer, blood punch him again, throw in both frags, go around the arena, glory killing zombies before you recharge both blood punch meters, and rinse and repeat that 30 or so times before he goes down. I usually like to contrast this fight with Summer's boss fight at the end of the first DLC. That fight also lasts for 5 phases, but no single phase was repetitive, and all were engaging, and what's most important, tested everything you've learned up until that point in the game. Here though, the only things you need to know are, do you know how traffic lights work? Do you know how to bonk? If you know these 2 things, you're Gucci. This was on Nightmare difficulty, by the way, just saying. What I feel would have worked wonders for this boss fight is just making it shorter by 1 or 2 phases, and changing one of the phases to have the Dark Lord take a backseat and spawn in 2 armored barons, which you have to defeat to progress. The barons were described to be the main guardians of the Dark Lord in the Codex entries of Doom 2016 after all. You don't even have to have the Dark Lord transform into some otherworldly creature for this fight to be good. For God's sake, the mod makers made this fight 10 times more entertaining by making it so you have to wait for the Dark Lord to make 3 consecutive attacks, keeping him at a medium distance, and constantly evading those 3 attacks, before being able to stagger him and deal damage to him. Anyway, enough rambling. This fight came and went, we defeated the Dark Lord, all of the demons are sealed away in hell, and we managed to finish Doom Eternal's DLC, The Ancient Gods, without firing a single bullet. Well, besides that time when we had to ghostbuster the 4 spirits to progress, yeah, that was kind of annoying. So hit the like button and subscribe if you enjoyed this video, comment if you have any questions, and yeah, thank you everybody for watching, have a good one, peace.